I came up with a new show idea, Lubie. And it's going to be a show entitled Loan Shark Tank, where we have like 5 loan sharks on one side, and the people come in, these bust out degenerate gamblers come in, and they try to negotiate better terms on some kind of a loan and also secure the loan, even though their reputations may not match up with what would be considered spot on credit. And you got some guy coming in there going, hey, listen, I'm looking for $600 at 2 points a week. I'm telling you, I'm going to pay you back. I know my reputation is not necessarily exemplary. And, then the loan sharks start picking them apart. It's like, well, what are you talking about, Johnny? 2 points a week. That's laughable. It's 7 points a week just to talk to me. What do you think?
I think it would be classic.
And you get the music going. The guy comes out. He's clearly in need of the money. And they get that dun, 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 dun. And you got some guy that looks like Vito. He's Mr. Wonderful's chair, and Mr. Wonderful's chair, and he's just looking at the guy like, what a watermelon.
I was gonna say you have to have at least one of the people or behind them, enforcers, at least either behind them or off to the side
with that face, that the enforcer always has. Like, let me at him. How about a little taste of pain?
The beginning of every episode, it's a guy that fucking didn't pay last week, so they have to send a message.
Shit beat out of him, He's in some trash can peeling himself out. Man, here's last week's deadbeat. What do you think? Did I get some money to produce this thing? Is somebody going to steal the idea? I was afraid to unveil it here on the show because I thought it was brilliant.
I think it's funny.
Loan Shark Tank.
The time. Wake up with Defo, joined by Lubie. Welcome to the Defo Show.
Very pleasant. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Defo Show. Jeff DeForest, and I have to say, in great admiration, Lubie, wherever you dug up this old Florida State jersey or whatever that is. What is that? Long sleeve?
Shirt. I don't know I don't know where I got this, to be brutally honest.
You may have to stand up and show it to everybody. I mean, it's absolutely amazing. I mean, what does it say on there? Florida State Seminoles?
Yeah, just the Seminoles. I don't know what this is. I don't know.
I mean, that looks like it's part of a new line of apparel, no?
No idea where I got this. I have so many episodes.
Is it like 30 years old? What's the story?
I feel like it's got to be decent old. But I just have a lot of sports attire because once you get older, to me, I don't, unless I'm going to a game, I don't just wear like heat. I know people do it, and I don't judge them, but it's weird for me to like.
You wear a jersey ever with like rivets on the back?
Never. Jersey, never. But like even like a Heat shirt or an FSU shirt, like I have this whole drawer of shirts that I used to wear all the time, and now I
pilfered from various radio stations.
I just feel weird. Like I know people do it, but it weirds me out to just wear a team shirt to like Publix. I don't know. I'm like, oh shoot, I need to walk the dog. I'm like, this is a nice shirt. Where the hell did I get this?
Yeah, I mean, I feel funny wearing like a Zach Thomas jersey to a Dolphin game. I guess it wouldn't have necessarily been appropriate since we were supposed to be unbiased observers of the team. Although people do it, right? The Big O, he would be out there with a Merino jersey on. No, I mean, there are people
as a fan, it's whatever. People wear to go to Home Depot is what I'm saying, and that's when.
Oh yeah.
I'm not judging you. I just wouldn't do that.
Or to play basketball, you're out there in a Magic
yeah, exactly.
Look like an asshole.
I just feel weird as a grown adult doing it.
I mean, I don't know that you even better be good. Even if you are good, people look at you and go, my God, what a schmuck. All right, good to be with you. It's National Radio Day. I didn't realize that.
There you go.
I mean, does National Radio Day fall on different days and in completely different parts of the year from year to year? Because I was looking online to see if I could confirm this. I saw a post by longtime South Florida radio legend, the lovely Jade Alexander, who also made a mark on television here. And I believe still is back in action on one of the
she
top stations. Yeah,
Good mornings again. I think
yes,
1.3.
Very nice person. Seems to be one of the people in the business that you don't. As soon as the job is over, you tell the guy very politely to lose my number, right? I'm like, don't ever call me again, you fucking 100%. Asshole, sales piece of shit. Yep. You unscrupulous bastard.
Yeah.
I mean, and you had those sentiments for some people. I don't know. I mean, I try not to hold a grudge, but I'm like this though, Louis. When I'm done, I'm done. That's it.
Yes.
can only take so much, and then you just say, "Hey, I don't have anything to say about this," and just I'm moving on. Don't
Yes.
call me. Don't write.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't mention my name if you can avoid it, please, and I'll be happy because I've already forgotten about you. That's it. And you don't want to dwell on that either, Lubie. I don't know. Do you find
100%.
yourself when you're angry with people like sulking about them for a while?
Oh,
No,
I don't know. I guess.
I mean, just
People
let
have
it go. That is the name of the game, isn't
yes,
it?
yes. Being in the business we've been in, I've gotten better at just moving
Yeah.
forward.
Oh, and radio business, you had to be that way. And I would have to say this: that I mean, the beat down here in South Florida was far less treacherous than you would imagine in other cities, and yet you
Yeah,
still got the evil
100%.
management syndrome, did you not? I mean, I used to point this out to you. You didn't believe that it was actually there. I mean, it's kind of like the current situation with the choices for president, where you're thinking, wow, it's one extreme or the other, right?
Yeah.
With radio management, I mean, they really were founded on being completely inept and anti-creativity in the most creative medium that you could possibly have of all, don't you think? Because you are
Yeah.
relying on theater of the mind. It's not like you have a written word in front of you. You can go back over it and say, "Wow, did Mayo really say that?" It's just there.
Yeah.
Okay, so I mean, and I feel very good about it. We received the highest of compliments the other day. At least I looked at it this way. As and every now and then somebody will recognize you. I don't know. You probably still get this, Luby,
I
even though we've
do.
been out of it for like 3 years.
I do.
But and hopefully, I mean, you would wish that it would be even more recognizable, or you would, because of this streaming enterprise, which we've had various
So,
levels of failure and modest success.
yeah.
So we'll see. I mean, there's always hope out there. You can never throw in the towel if you have the need to keep going and the desire to. And I was talking to a guy the other day, the guy that owns a great restaurant, the Fish Shack, right? Not
Oh,
the
yeah.
even keel, but the Fish
Ah,
Shack
we
in
love
Lighthouse
fish.
Point.
Yeah, yep.
This guy Mike, I mean, he's known Mustang forever, so he always comes out, says hello. He was a big fan of our radio work, Louie, by the way, and says hello to you. How's that guy you were working with doing? He's not doing so hot.
All around.
Oh yeah, we still do some stuff.
There.
Uh, but yeah, and he was thriving in the fact that he had sold a place to these guys that own the Calypso restaurant,
Okay.
and which leads you to believe that it's still going to be of the same high standard that it is. I mean, I had a meal there that was unbelievable for like
Good.
$22. It was unreal.
Good.
Okay, and so anyway, he was talking to me about well, geez. I'm thinking about just getting out of here like at 60 and that's it. Cause he's, I guess, I don't even know if he's in it. I guess he's close to 60 and he's got the money to retire. People paid him for the place. He's still working there. And he realized like, what would I do, man?
Mm.
I mean, I don't know, Libby, could you see yourself just goofing off and doing absolutely nothing?
I was thinking about that yesterday. Like people who like you make a ton of money and you travel and this and that, but how long do you do that? Like that's why you see people who have lots of money still doing stuff because like there's only so much you can travel the world and this and that. It's like you want the daily routine thing is like ingrained in us. It's just sort of weird to me.
Maybe it shouldn't be though. I mean, maybe.
Oh no,
Yeah.
I don't know if it's the right way to live, but I know that like even if I had tons of money, I'd still probably do something like this because why not? Like
Well, in this case, I mean, of course, why not? This way, I mean,
Mhm.
if you could just sustain yourself doing this, it's a piece of cake, right?
Yeah, it's
This
fine.
would be like being retired at the same time. You don't have to schlep anywhere. It's absolutely fantastic, no doubt about it. But all this got started, and it all got started from radio. And I was paid the highest compliment, Luby, and you sharing this.
Okay.
I'm going into the what was the Isle Casino, now the Pomp, owned by Harris, and they do a nice job over there. It's a good place to hang out. Machines, I mean, are not exactly the most favorable, as is the case, I think, in any South Florida casino, right? Because are we not paying out? I don't even know if they have to post the payouts, Libby. It's like no regulation in this. It's really the Wild West, especially when you get involved with Native American casinos like the Hard Rock. Where do we have any idea what the fuck they're paying out, Libby? None. I mean, I've had good relations with those people. Also, I mean, when they were doing that boxing, that it was the top of the notch telecast.
Nice.
Even if nobody was watching it, it's incredible.
Yeah.
The extent that they went to. I mean, literally, you're working for Bob Dunphy, the son of Don Dunphy, who's a renowned
Wow.
boxing
Yep.
director. I mean, like a Emmy award winning a director. And renowned in the industry is like one of the great fucking directors, and this guy is directing you at some schmuck fight that they're having between some Russian that you never heard of and a guy they dug up out of the streets of Colombia. Well, we got a good one going here. Are you shilling for the promoter? When no, would never think about doing that. But the money was good. No, no, very favorable. But is anybody regulating what the hell they're doing? I don't know. Nobody does, right? DeSantis doesn't give a fuck. He got his money. And not that they're doing anything that is outrageously, unfair, but you would think the slot machines being unregulated. In Vegas, supposedly, slot machines pay back like 98%, something like that. So you're only losing 2% to the churn, theoretically. Here, I think it's like, what is it, in the low 90s, Lubie? Do you have any idea? I mean, am I speaking to the foreign press here?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, tough place to go. So I'm walking into this place. I like the arrangement they have for horses because you can get your bets in, a few schmucks in there, but that happens at any racetrack. And very comfortable at the bar.
Yeah.
It's you're going to slide the bartender around a lovely Carol at 20 just for sitting there. And that's the way it should be. It's almost like you bought a seat in a clubhouse at Santa Anita or something. It's fantastic. You got all the screens going, everything. Opportunity to bet is, pretty much, I mean, with relative ease. You don't have to fear getting shut out unless you're just sitting on your ass until the last horse is going in the gate. So this guy stops me as I'm going in. He says, hey, Defo. And I turn around and I don't recognize the guy. And he says, I got to thank you. I'm like, really? What did I do? Did I drop $100 bill on the way in? Because I don't even think I had one. He says, I was in federal prison in Miami for 5 years.
Oh,
and the only way we got through it was tuning into you on 940 with Lubie. And then on Saturday for the trivia challenge with the guy with the voice and the other guy, Gergoloff. Yeah, no, and they never get the names right. But,
they never get the names, yeah.
But anyway, yeah, so I felt like, wow, that's the highest of praise. I mean, you talk about, I don't want to mean to make light of the guy's misfortune there, but 5 years in federal prison, we got the guy through, he said. He said that was the only way he got through it. So he would have gone mad without us, Lubie. And I considered that the highest form of praise. You can have an Eagle calling the show impromptu and being always willing to do interviews with us, or any person of distinction that we've had on, the Armagedonians, to call in. And you're thinking, wow, this is pretty cool that this guy actually wants to do this stupid radio show. And, Feinstein, and all of our friends. Leslie Visser was a big fan at Duke. So we had all kinds of people. But the fact that we got this guy through 5 years in the Fed.
No, that's
Club Fed down there, whatever that is.
I am honored. I think it's amazing. And I can't believe that the joke you always made is true.
Yeah.
People
it's our number one audience are people who are incarcerated. They have one radio, and it's only got one station that comes in. It happens to be yours. You're gonna get that rating.
They are listening. Wow.
Do they get ratings books? Those guys. I mean, when you used to fill out the little book. Biggest cockamamie scheme ever was when radio went to the wristbands or whatever they had that were measuring audience. And you'd be in the elevator in a dentist's office, and all of a sudden
exactly.
The light music station would light up the board there and have like a 90 share of the audience because you were stuck in the elevator for 2 hours while this hideous music was playing. That was probably worse than the fact that the oxygen was being sucked out of the room. No, it was a lot of fun. Radio and what do I go through the dial? I don't even know if I can name all the stations, Libby. Right, you got 560, 610, 640, 747, 90, 850, 940, 1230 the zone. Does that count? Because it's Palm Beach station.
I don't know. No,
1230 the zone.
It's its own book.
1400. And what was the bogus station we were buying time on different times there? Was that 1460?
1470.
1470, yeah, 1470. You may as well have tuned in to 1460. You were going to get the same sound.
Exactly.
So National Radio Day is today, Lubie. I mean, what would you have to say about this if you were going to summarize your experience in radio? And would you ever go back to doing radio?
I don't. That's the funny thing is I enjoyed my time on radio. Uh, I'm grateful to my time on radio. It was something I thought had escaped me, and then you came along, and it definitely I got to see what it was and what it now is. I don't know if I'd go back though. Like it's just it would have to be.
You would be good at modern day radio, though.
Yeah, exactly. Just
You
yelling.
would actually. I mean, you have hard takes on things and very passionate,
Yeah, yelling.
extreme viewpoints, one way or the other. I mean, you don't normally sit in the middle unless you're out being asked to pick a game, in which case you're right on the fence.
My team is involved. I'm not a fan of it.
I had a good one last night on Bury Your Bookie. I'm 4-0 now.
Nice.
People are going to think that I can handicap, which I can't. You all know that. Yeah. You guys that have known me for a while here know that it's Loserville, my friends. It's just not happening most of the time. If there's a way to get fucked, I'll find it. That could be like what? A rap song, right? If the way that's like Vanilla Ice. If there's a way to get fucked, I'll find it. And it nearly happened last night in our stance against Trevor Rogers. We were talking about can you go to the well once too often? So we've been taking this. I mean, this guy's been getting lit up. He has plus seven plus earn run average since he's been with the Orioles. That represents. I mean, he got stepped on in his first start pretty badly. I think he went like an inning and a third. So the ERA is going to be a little bit out of whack, right? You're also talking about the transition, so it doesn't factor in going from the National League to the American League, the earn run average, which wasn't pretty when he was with the Marlins, was it? I mean, he was getting shellacked almost every outing, this guy. Anyway, yeah, we take a stance against him. He gives up a couple of runs early. The Mets are up 3-0 in this ball game, Louie. 3-0. Okay. I'm cruising to 4-0 on Bury Your Bookie baseball selections, which who would figure that? If I go to Atlantic City and I bet a baseball parlay, do I hit any of the games? No, 0.0, nothing. The game goes 3-0 Mets, and then Peterson's on the mound. He gives up a run, and then he gets to the seventh inning, and he's kind of cruising along. Gives up like a leadoff double in the seventh inning. Guy goes to third on a grounder to short, and then he gets the next guy like on a strikeout, so there's no advance. So all he has to do is get one more guy. He's out of the inning. You go to the eighth, leading 3-1. They have Diaz still in the bullpen. You don't know what he's going to do, but you're figuring, okay, we're in there with a shot. And sure enough, he balks in the second run with like a weird balk. Remember when they were calling balks like one after another that one year? Were you watching baseball then? I mean, it almost ruined the game.
It's so weird with balks because you'll watch guys do stuff and you're like, okay, that's a fucking balk, and then they don't call it, and then you'll watch a guy just doing regular delivery and then they do call a balk, and it's balks like the infield fly rule that it's always confused me. Like I feel like I know what the hell a balk is, but they don't call it consistently. They call it all over the place.
I mean, you got to come to a stop, right? And you can't be making a motion towards the base or whatever and then come home, or vice versa. But anyway, he not only balks in the second run, but then the guy that's at the plate, Urias, ends up hitting a home run. So now it's 3-3.
Oh, God.
Rogers is off the hook, even though he had left a couple of guys on base. And the Mets could not touch Baltimore's bullpen. I think they had a string going into what turned out to be the game-winning run of 10 at-bats against the Baltimore relievers who came in to replace Rogers. And 8 of the 10 guys, all of them, I don't think anybody had a hit, and 8 of the 10 struck out.
Oh, God. Jesus.
You're thinking, hey, if there's a way to get fucked, I'm fucked. I mean, this is going to go to this cockamamie bullshit thing, which I don't mind as much as it sounds. But if you lose to the extra inning rule where they put the guy on second, you really feel like you got robbed. Don't you?
Yeah, it sucks.
You don't like it? I mean, I really don't want to see like 25 inning games.
I get why they do it. It should shorten. You get these random extra inning games that go 20 innings. Like I get it. You don't want that, but it's just weird. I don't know. It's just weird to me. I mean, I don't know.
It's strange. Yeah. I mean, it's like a beer league softball thing. Okay. I tell you what, it looks like it's going to rain, man. Put a guy out on second. But I mean, you have to deal with it. You hate to lose to it though, Lubie, especially when it looked like, by all accounts, if the Mets could do any clutch hitting in the final inning that Rogers was on the mound, they have 5 runs off this cat, and he looks again like he's just a loss waiting to happen. So anyway, we escaped that one, Lubie, and now we're 4-0 in our predictions. We put one handicapper on that made a pick so far. The professor mostly gave out futures on the show.
Yeah.
And so we don't know how that's going to go, and how strongly will we be held accountable, Lubie? Because you know me, I don't write anything down. I mean, I don't know who the fuck he picked. I mean,
I don't know if people are running to go, oh my God, I have to do Defo's plays. But
I can't imagine anybody would be playing my picks.
I presume you're not lying. I presume people believe you. Like, you're very honest when you're wrong. So.
See, I'm figuring I'm just there to kind of set up the handicappers to look good themselves, and we would bring a variety of people on board, so you have a lot of different things to choose from, and hope that at least 1 or 2 of them got hot, which would be great. And, throw in the occasional pick and opinion. I didn't feel like I would have to pressure myself to pick a game every day, which, look, Lubie, how long have you known me? When have I ever given out a long string of winners, even though we've had our share of success in the prediction game? Actually, when you think about it, we weren't bad, Lubie.
You're fine. You just... I don't know if we won a bunch in a row. Like, you don't give too many picks. They're usually here and there. So I don't know.
I mean, random picks that come from the gut. That if you only played these selections, you would probably be a winner lifetime. But the problem is you're tempted to bet on everything, man. No, seriously. I mean, people are looking at lines in the WNBA. I only got to lay 3 with Indiana. Get the fuck out of here. What are we talking about? That's insanity. So anyway, so that and the agony is just incredible. I mean, you get your money's worth of anxiety when you make a wager, unless you're just one of those people that doesn't care, Lubie. I don't know. Are there people that just shrug it off? Because during the course of the game, I mean, your stomach is literally in knots. And in this case, I don't have any money on these games. It's strictly trying to create some kind of an image. Because if you could win... for a recognizable period of time, Louis? Remember when Hank Goldberg had that streak, speaking of radio, where he was on ESPN and he had buried the public for years.
Yes.
And then it was sort of like his 3rd or 4th year doing this stuff. And he went on an incredible run where he was going like 5-0, 4-1, week after week after week after week. It was amazing.
Well, yeah.
Never to be duplicated again.
That's the thing is, all you have to do is do one stretch of it. And you'll live off.
And he became a fucking legend. It's amazing. It's like, hey, Hank, who do you like? The guy hasn't had a winner in 3 years.
That's like Coward. You talk about the win.
Coward, same thing. Yeah.
I've never seen that year. I know every year he fucking sucks, but supposedly, I guess he did 1 year where he was amazing, or a few years early on. Like, that's what I think is classic. It's like, dude, but you suck for 6 straight years. Like, who gives a shit about 1 year? But they'll hold on to that 1 year for dear life. Oh my God.
Well, and that's what people do. Remember that. I mean, they tend to, with the run. Look, if you're shooting craps, it's rare that there's a long good roll. Very rare, Louis.
Yeah.
More often than not, it's just a brick. I mean, thud after thud. Guy rolls a 6 on the come out roll, comes right back with a fucking 7. You've just barely even, dusted the table with a few chips, and all of a sudden he's already out. They're sweeping him. What the fuck? Wait a minute. You turn around. You were tipping the waitress a couple of bucks. You turn around, and all your money's gone. What a great thing gambling is. All right, National Radio Day. So your recollections, I wish the medium hadn't dried up to the extent that it has, where I don't know. I mean, people always say this, and it sounds ugly. It's like George Orwellian, right? It's Big Brother, huh? Where these corporations are going to eventually crush all creativity, right?
Yeah.
They what is it? They put up a parking lot, tore down the park, put up a parking lot.
Yeah. It's about simple, clean, and easy, and it's not about what's good. And that's been...
Oh, my God, nauseating. I mean, they had the same conversation. Sorry. What were you going to say?
That's when I got into the business on the tail end. I mean, when I first got in, sports talk was still a big deal, but corporate sports talk had already taken over. I didn't get into it because you guys always talk about the heyday. I guess I missed the heyday, but I got into it to see it still thriving. It just, the room for freedom and creativity had already sort of switched when you had ESPN, you had Fox, you had some of these other
the contrived debate comeback.
Yes.
With no audience participation. See, I liked it when people used to call in. That was
great.
Yeah, I mean, you would set up a show, and then the next hour and a half, you'd just be punching calls. Joe in Miramar, you're on the air.
Yep.
Hey, Dave, love the show. I tell you. But it was good. I mean, there was an exchange of ideas. There was a process there, and people would throw things out there that you could bounce off, and it seemed like it was just one big happy discussion. No.
Yep.
People got passionate about certain things, but that kind of drifted out. I don't know. The people in management didn't want to hear from the audience anymore. I don't want to hear this same schmuck on your show again today. Yeah, exactly.
The phone call thing they've gotten weird about, even though national shows still take calls, they got real weird about calls, and it's like you don't know.
That was the whole game, though, wasn't it? Talk radio.
They lost the point of all of it. And what's funny is it's not that it went away; it's just transformed into podcast. I guess podcasts a lot of the time don't do interaction. I guess it's all. So I guess
people are always trying to set stuff up like that so that you can interact with. You have chat lines. And things.
I think it's better to have communication ongoing, and then I like that it stays up there and you can get people watching it later. There's nothing wrong with that. That's cool, but I like the immediacy of a back and forth conversation with those that are out there listening. I think it was a big part of why radio got to be such a big deal, and and things like TV as well. Look, they have chats and this and that. It's just, I don't know. It's just weird. I look at it from a fondness, but again, going back, what happened to us, I just couldn't deal with. Where we were cranking, we're actually doing as well as we.
We were doing pretty well. I thought
audience, and they actually didn't have any rationale. They just ended it. It was like, okay,
that was strange. I think part of it was what we were having, what they thought or perceived to be more success than we deserved, even though that was hardly the case. I mean, we were busting our ass for everything, but nonetheless, I mean, there seemed to be that. I felt that they weren't happy that we thought we were doing. I mean, they thought we were doing real well, right?
It's a weird world, and most places you're rewarded for doing things well. In that world, you're forgotten. And then just one day, because corporate wants to go in another direction, even if by all accounts it's a horrendous direction, that's just how it goes. Okay, then I'm done. Like, I'd rather do my own thing.
Yeah.
It's tough this way, it's hard this way, but at least we're in control. That was the weirdest fucking thing, and it was fine. We landed on our feet to a certain extent. It's just I'll never understand that. I'll just never understand it. Like, well, this is just what it is. It's like, yeah, but even this is stupid.
Yeah. There's a path past it, though, which we haven't necessarily hit on yet, but it's there. That's what I'm feeling, and it's
obviously
you have to find your way to it somehow, and once there, it would be well worth moving on. But no, I really enjoyed the meeting. I mean, I grew up with this. Radio was. The fabric of New York City was listening to Yankee baseball on the radio with Mel Allen, Red Barber, who I was never. I mean, is it wrong to have never been a fan of Red Barber? Lubie, the great Red Barber, and I thought he sucked. I really did.
He was simplistic.
Red Barber, yep. No, when he came on, I don't know if it was just the greatness of Mel. I mean, Jerry Doggett broadcast for many years in the shadow of the great Vin Scully, but I mean, was he okay on his own? Yeah, probably. But when he came on to do the middle innings after Vin had done the first three, you were like, what the hell is this? But, very much the fabric of New York and L.A. were baseball calls for a good portion of time. And then talk radio was a very interesting medium, sports talk radio. I thought that there became, like with a lot of good things, an oversaturation of it. And I don't know, did that water it down? Was it like the NBA seeking expansion? They want $6 billion for the Celtics, supposedly $6 billion. Because and I didn't realize this. Whatever, I guess the highest price of a franchise is sets the bar for what the expansion franchises will cost. Does that seem right, Lubie? In other words, now an expansion franchise would also be $6 billion to the
oh, geez, really?
respective owners. Yeah.
Okay. I mean,
I think I want to say that the Heat. Is this possible? Did they pay $50,000 as a franchise fee?
oh God, I don't know.
I want to say that was the franchise fee when they came into the NBA. 50 dimes. You
I'll,
could have bought the team with what you have in the bank. Is that possible that it was only $50,000? This is 1988. Wow, that would be remarkable, wouldn't it? I mean, think about the exponential growth of the value of the franchises in the NBA. If that's the case, that now an expansion team would cost you $6 billion. All right, just some mathematical shit that we were working on here on the show. We're going to come back with more. Levitard scores another key interview that's all over the place. Your man, Levitard, Tua saying that Flores was an asshole, basically. Motivation by that kind of negativity. I mean, and especially you're thinking, does the kid really know that he's going to make it? I mean, sure, he has to be confident to be able to do what he did even at Alabama, right? I mean, Tua came into a ball game, a championship game, throws a fucking strike, a miracle pass, wins it for Nick Saban, and comes back the next year as the starting quarterback. It wasn't like he was bad, was he? I mean, he was fine and got himself into a conversation of maybe being potentially the number 1 overall pick. Did he not?
Yes.
Eventually, sort of because of the injuries, that people became suspicious that we got a little guy here who's fragile.
Yes.
So, and the Dolphins get him. And Flores is telling him every day that he's a worthless piece of shit.
That's just the old school where you beat a guy down and they have to be that motivates them to prove you wrong. I don't know. I understand even old school mentality is to push people, but like every day, the way he made it seem and the way he was playing it felt like that's literally what he was doing. Like, I guess back in the day that may have worked in this day and age, kids aren't used to that. Like, I know coaches are tough in high school and whatever, but they're not. When you're
who's doing that? Yeah, I mean,
quarterback of all people, it's your job to build confidence in your quarterback, like to degrade them and denigrate them on a daily basis. Like, I don't understand how anyone could think that is I'm not even talking about the pussification of a man, whatever. Like, you can be honest with them. Guys like being treated like men. There's no reason to lie to a dude, but when he's playing well, to be like, nah, you suck. It's like I don't understand.
That was crazy. Yeah, I mean, what a difference.
It's like abuse. It's what men do to women to try and keep them in their place, to not realize that there's more out there. Like, who does that? Like, it was 2020. Like, dude, that's
he did look sour though, Flores, at all times.
Yeah, he did.
Maybe because Stephen Ross was telling him to lose games. I don't know.
No, look, who doesn't? I believe.
And where's Chris Greer? I mean, he was on board with that. Because you would have to think that when they were telling Flores, if this was true, I mean, you haven't heard that much about it since. It was a big to-do. But if they were telling him to lose games, where was Chris Greer on this? And now all of a sudden he's on board and is being regarded as, somebody who's put together this magical, potentially, high-wire act offensive team.
I mean, he spent a lot of money. He's done what, again, any person could do from their house. On a fantasy team, if they had unlimited funds. I mean, there's many holes on this roster, and they're all Chris Greer's fault. I mean,
I don't know that I totally believe in this guy. All of a sudden, he seems to have gotten a free pass. He's become Paul Free Pass Baloney here. Yeah, and people are like, "Oh yeah, well, we did a great job." Like he was Bill Zito or something. We'll see. I'm a little more optimistic because you had painted an ugly picture from Chris Perkins, who was on the show with us yesterday, saying that he thought that 10 was the most wins the Dolphins could achieve, and if that's the case, that ain't saying much for to go 10-7. I mean, is that any remarkable accomplishment?
It would be a failed season. I don't see Mike McDaniel coming back if they do that. I mean, he was saying,
can you fire a guy that goes 10-7?
Yeah, for 3 straight years, you spend tons of money and put a roster together that's supposed to contend for a Super Bowl, and you don't get out of the first round. Yes, guys get fired all the time for that. Marty Schottenheimer, again, was a famed coach at the time and was fired for winning 14 fucking games.
Oh, yeah, but the guy, the GM there, Smith, he hated Schottenheimer.
Look, I'm not.
He was an old fool and wanted him out of there right away.
Dolphins will do it because, again, like we talked about, the Dolphins don't get rid of guys that deserve to be gone. I think there's something to be said for sticking with coaches and building a culture, but when you go all in and spend a crap load of money, you need to see results on the field. And I presume they do better than 10 wins. But yes, if they somehow only have 10 wins and lose in the first round, I don't see how you bring Mike McDaniel back with a smile and go, yeah, we're in great hands. I mean,
Perkins was passionate about this, saying, hey, you got to win some big games. All right, we're going to come back with more here on the Defo Show. Mike Lubitz, maybe, you could work out a deal for FSU apparel, no?
yeah.
Where and do some shows from some FSU stronghold. Although during the week it wouldn't make a whole lot of sense, would it? From a closed restaurant? From a closed restaurant somewhere outside of Lighthouse Point.
No, you would do stuff around.
It's Seminole War Chest here.
There you go.
All right, coming back with more in a moment. Now that.
The time.
The guy, we got him through 5 years in the clink.
Yeah,
It's highest form of praise, I thought. It's 8:38.
Champions, the outstanding simulcasting room at beautiful Hialeah Park. Yes, the grand old lady of thoroughbred racing has never been more vibrant, and you can wager on the races from the top tracks around the country while enjoying a cocktail at the Brass Rail Bar or any of the fine food served throughout the facility. If poker is your game, you're covered in style, and you can play all your favorite Vegas-style games, including blackjack, craps, and roulette, in Hialeah Park's sizzling hot casino. Get a player's card when you walk through the door for all kinds of generous amenities, including our favorite, free play, when you come out to the ultimate casino and entertainment destination, Hialeah Park.
These days, we're all looking for comfort anywhere we can find it. Thank goodness for Landlubbers Raw Bar and Grill in Plantation, because they are making sure you are as comfortable as possible. First of all, they're not only open for delivery and pickup. All you have to do is go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both pickup and free delivery. You're going to have the best wings in the world. You're going to have a great burger. You're going to have their amazing soups. Again, Landlubbers, Raw Bar and Grill. It's nice and easy. Just go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both your pickup and free delivery. Thank goodness for Landlubbers for making you always feel right at home.
Are you looking to buy your first home? Have you been turned down for a loan? Do you need to refinance or get money out of your home? Call Michael Kodsey, CEO of Choice Mortgage. He's been helping the South Florida community get mortgages for 30 years.
Hi, this is Michael Kodsey, CEO of Choice Mortgage. We have the most competitive fixed rates in the market. Call me 24/7, 561-441-2730. And remember, I don't just work banking hours. To make the right choice for your home, call Choice Mortgage today.
The world, if my point was ever going to be embellished and going to be proven true, the world has gotten a sugar nut.
Grab a bagel and a schmear, plus some Defo and Lubie. Welcome back to the Defo Show.
All right, welcome back to the show. Good to have you guys with us. Kind of cruising and breezing through a Tuesday National Radio Day where Lubie and I spent about 12 years at 940 Wins. We evolved from a nighttime show. Well, it started out in the midday.
Yes.
I remember when the program director, who was Ken Charles at the time, who had brought me into this situation, and then he was one of those guys, I guess, had a little bit of Flores in him, that never seemed satisfied with what you were doing. Is that a fair statement, Lubie? That no matter what you were doing, it was no good. You just got the feeling. One of those guys, a very authoritative program director, one of those guys that you definitely didn't want to be on the wrong side of, but always seemed to be. Is that a fair statement?
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Come marching down the hall with a face.
He sucked.
And his theory was this was my favorite thing that he ever said, and I liked the guy though because he was always sort of an advocate for me to come to the station there, and eventually I did, and I thought it was a really good run, he said that no interview, Lubie, because of the new way that they were monitoring ratings in radio, no interview should exceed more than 3 minutes.
Which is not even possible. I understand on these like FM stations where they like do a long ass interview and they intersperse it to different segments and they just do 3 minutes here, 2 minutes there. But like on IOD, he would literally have like people on and they would just do 3 minutes.
3 minutes.
I was like, that I don't even know what the point.
You couldn't begin to get started with somebody in 3 minutes, could you?
I mean, I don't know. Like that's my problem with the radio management is their stuff never works. Like I don't mind like if you throw out ideas and then sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. You're not going to bat 1,000, but like you'll look at over a tenure of a person being in management, and none of their decisions hit.
Andy says your questions used to take 3 minutes. Not that mine was short either.
I was going to say, I don't know. That's not true.
I mean, look, it's barely enough time to say hello to a guy. Yeah, you're going to give him a little bit of an intro. You'd like the guy to feel really good coming on the show. I think that's something that we were able to accomplish. People come on, and it's just like you were talking about. It gets back to the big topic of the day here, Lubie, and that is if you're being browbeaten all the time and constantly being reminded that you're a worthless piece of shit. Eventually, I don't care how good you are, how confident you are, does it not eventually have some impact on you that is not positive? Where even if you're thinking about, hey, I hate this guy, I don't ever want to hear from him again, it's still now something. I mean, you're still thinking about it, right? In some way.
Look, there's nothing wrong with tough coaches that push you. My problem is someone who does it every day, and there's got to be a carrot at the end, right? Like, you're pushing me to get to this point, and then you're going to say, wow,
you got there.
Look back, like from what we saw and what Tua was saying, that wasn't the case. The case was he was just always negative every single fucking day. And it's like, so what is the point? What is the payoff there? Like, I don't know.
The game's supposed to be fun too, isn't it?
Yeah, it's fucking football.
It is, after all, a game.
Get the fuck out of here. Like,
it's amazing how we make it life and death. I mean, if you're betting on it, it could be. I would imagine.
That was exactly how Ken Charles was. Like, Ken Charles was always negative. I'm like, dude.
Always, yeah. Same thing with your girl, Grace Blazer. She just every time I looked at her, I thought she was looking at me like, hey, you worthless piece of shit. Are you ever gonna become more conventional in what you do?
No, never.
And I thought, really? I mean, that's the one thing. Look at this guy, man. We got him out of 5 years of torture in prison. Probably stuck in some solitary confinement arrangement, and the only thing he's got is a radio. And bingo, man, we're bringing it to him. Like when you used to go to sleep at night. Speaking of National Radio Day, you never experienced this, but we used to like fish around on a radio dial and maybe get like a little bit of the Red Sox game against the White Sox. And you were in fucking baseball nirvana, right? And it was coming in kind of scratchy in and out. But you still loved it, and you were hearing the great voices of the game from all around the country. This was before they started toning down the signals on AM radio, so you couldn't hear them in the parking lot as soon as the sun went down. That was another problem there that we had to contend with. But nonetheless, National Radio Day, good. I mean, it's always good to reminisce on this because I would have to say overall, I mean, and I had opportunities in TV, did newspaper work. Far and away, my favorite was always being on the radio. It was always great. And this is cool because people can see you, and it sort of is the same thing.
Yeah.
We're approaching this show in that way, which is maybe the reason that we should try a new approach.
Yeah, exactly.
Who the hell knows? All right, Lubie. So you have a lot on the plate here in terms of sporting activity. Unfortunately, now we have a bunch of new guys. I'm seeing some people embrace this. The new fresh faces on the Marlins. They brought up a prospect who was like the number 3 overall prospect or something, and he made his debut last night.
Oh, wow.
It was in a game that I didn't have much interest in because all of my attention was being paid when I found the Mets and the Orioles on TV on MLB Network, and I'm thinking I have a vested interest in this game.
Yes. With
no money on it. I need to get out to about an 8-0 start on this thing before we hit. I mean, how long can I go on picking fucking baseball games? It's impossible, right? What would you say, Louie? I mean, if you looked at today's slate of games, I mean, would you go with the Guardians getting plus 140 against the Yankees? Louis Gill, is he in decline? What happened to this guy? He was a cinch. I mean, to be in the Cy Young conversation earlier in the season. Now, all of a sudden, you can't do shit. And what do you have in the Yankees lineup? I mean, do you count Stanton as a feared bat in the Yankees lineup?
If he's,
I guess he would be, right?
If he's in between injuries, yeah. If he's just coming off an injury,
he's back in the lineup after like a month out with a hamstring pull.
It usually takes him a little bit of time to get in before the next injury, and that's where the sweet spot is, the 2 or 3 games before he's injured again. But if he's there, he always has the ability to knock one out. I mean, he is Stanton. It's just he's rarely there.
Rarely there, man. Guys, I mean, that you would think would be making contact. Is the pitching that good now, Lubie?
It may be. I think that what I was thinking about the other day is are so specified in their pitching that it's made it really hard to fucking hit. Like
I'm watching a couple of guys last night that came in under the bullpen for both sides, and wicked movement on these balls that are being brought to the plate at 95 plus. You're like, who the fuck could hit that? They were doing the equivalent of Little League distance and the equation to what the Major League Baseball speed would be when a guy throws like a 73-mile-an-hour fastball in the Little League World Series, which I don't know why, Lubie, and should I feel badly about this? I find myself suddenly attached to a little bit. They had a team from Florida. I think they got pounded last night. I always like when the guy gets taken out after 2 wild pitches and he starts crying.
It's kids. It reminds you that they're kids because you start getting into it, and then you're like, "What's wrong with that player?" And then he's like 11. You're like, "Yeah, that makes sense."
I would have to say, kids are a lot cooler today in terms of their self confidence than we were as kids, even though we were a very confident bunch.
Yeah,
But they seem to shake off this. I mean, they certainly don't carry the weight of negativity for very long. They seem to just shrug it off and almost relish. I mean, I don't know. Would you be a nervous wreck if you were an 11-year-old and you were on a nationally televised baseball game that you were in? I mean, that wouldn't shake you up a little bit, Lubie. Although, yeah, I would imagine you wanted to show off your skills when you were a fleet-footed second baseman there in your Little League days.
Baseball was the worst sport. I was good in almost every other sport. I always sucked at baseball. I was horrendous at baseball.
Oh, yeah? Okay. I thought you wouldn't be bad, you know?
I was fine.
You got a little Jose Altuve in you, a taller version of
in the
Altuve.
thing, but at the plate, I was horrendous. I was little, so they would always
Last pick, yeah.
throw horrible pitches. So I would just walk all the time because I'm like, all right,
good.
If you can give me a base, I'll take it. But I was not a great hitter, and I was scared of the fucking ball. And they would always put me in outfield because I would always miss they would have the days where you do the ratings, and my mom would always fucking miss ratings. Coaches' kids would always be in the infield, and I would always be in left field. It wasn't like, okay, the kids suck, put them in left field. They didn't know if I was good or not. They would just throw me in left field, and I was scared of the fucking ball being hit in the air.
Oh, geez.
I just was. So, I was horrendous. Yeah, I was bad at baseball. I don't even have illusions or there's no delusions of grandeur. I was really bad at baseball.
I mean, I'm thinking that there was no path to Williamsport from the Belmore Little League that I played. That was such a distant consideration. I don't know. You get in some tournaments, usually lose in the first round of some regional tournament to a bunch of 15-year-olds. But I don't remember. I mean, it was never like, wow, we're close to getting a ticket to Williamsport, Lubie, as a little leaguer. And you would imagine that there were far fewer people playing back in what year was that I would have been in the Little League, like 1962?
60s, yeah.
Yeah, 62. We moved to Long Island. I was 11, so I played a couple of years of Little League baseball there. And I mean, we loved it, man. That was one of those things where you wore the uniform to school, even though the game was at night. You were like, "Hey, I got a game tonight," and it was great. Did you have manicured fields, or what were you playing out there in crabgrass and a lot of lumps and bumps?
We play for fun in the road, but I always played in a rec league that always had real fields. Yeah, I mean, I was from Sunrise. We always had fields. We always had rec. In baseball my whole life.
Anybody that traveled back and forth from the city to Long Island on the South Shore was absolutely envious of the Rockville Center Little League field, where they actually had a fence and real grass. I mean, yeah, it wasn't one of those deals where a guy would hit a grounder to short. It would go between the shortstop, third baseman, blast its way between the left fielder and the center fielder, and roll all the way to the school. Those were my favorites, the Fable Little League home run. But I've been watching a little bit of this, Lubie. I'm not as interested in it as I don't know that I'm really that infatuated with trying to figure out what the results are going to be or who's moving on. You know that Chinese Taipei is always like the international representative and probably the winner. They got guys pitching no hitters. They bring in a guy from. Any position on the field, they take the mound. All of a sudden, they're untouchable. They're Sandy Koufax. It's amazing. So, I'll watch a little of that. But at the same time, do you feel a little bit of Jeffrey Epstein type of guilt? just saying, wait a minute, man. I mean, this is
No,
just total and complete exploitation of children, no?
no. Look,
The parents are a trip.
I always thought was interesting. It's the fact that it gets that people like bet on it like that.
How could you bet on this shit? I mean, really?
That's so hectic to me. Like, that's a lot.
Yeah, I mean, you could have Danny Almonte out there, and you're still thinking there's a possibility that this team could get fucked by poor officiating. All right, that's been part of it, and now you have a full slate of the final preseason games, which
Yes.
we have no idea what to make of any of this at this point. The Dolphins got some good grades, of course, because of Tua going 5 for 5.
The tour was really good.
He
in the
was
offense.
good.
It's
You know, they had Mostert and A-Chan out there, A-Chain.
Yes.
And both of those guys, I mean, you know, Mostert runs hard. You know, he's a client of our good friend, the agent of the stars, Brett Tesler. So we've been paying attention to him for a long, long time. Going back to his original tenure here with the Miami Dolphins. And great story. I mean, one of the real good stories and feel-good stories that you find in sports where the guy was told, how many times did he get cut? 7, something like that?
Yes.
7 times he's told, hey, you're not good enough to do this job. And good luck to you, friend, my friend. And hung around and stayed with it. And now I would imagine he got a pretty fat raise coming out of last season when he had just a remarkable year all the way around. Scored, 300 touchdowns and had a couple of 1,000 yards rushing. I mean, holy Eric Dickerson, what were we talking about here?
Yeah, but yes, he had a really good year.
Good year. I mean, a solid year, and did a lot of different things. Ran hard, right? It wasn't like he was just sweeping on the outside. If he got clear, he gained 60 yards, and that padded his average. No,
he's a tough runner.
Tough runs up the middle and grinding out yardage that you really needed. So, a real good year. So they had those guys in there. They didn't have Tyreek Hill or Jalen Waddle,
No.
and yet, I mean, just marched it right down the field and perfect series of plays. Ended up scoring. So. We have that in a bank. I would imagine we don't see any of those guys. Is there anything of significance to look at in this game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Lubie? What do you think?
See, that's annoying. You're right. I was hoping that we'd see the starters for a little bit, but you're probably right. If we were going to see them, it would have been last game, and we didn't see most of them. Yeah, I don't know. I'll watch a little bit because, as we've seen with the injuries on this team, depth is very important. So these guys we're watching may actually get run earlier than we like. But it's hard to hold my attention in these games. Like the second half, I start like moving on and meandering just because you do get guys that it's hard for me to fathom they're going to play in an NFL game.
Yeah, I have to say, I didn't have my undivided attention, that's for sure. And it's not like I have that many things to pay attention to. But I mean, aside from clipping your toenails, you're watching this thing and look, the announcers on all of these preseason games are trying to sell the idea that their team is going to be good.
Yeah.
So I was watching another game. I guess it was with the Denver announcers. They were doing a game that was on TV the other night, Denver and Green Bay. And I mean, they couldn't. They were just gushing over every play. Any positive play. Guy would gain 3 yards as a tight end. I tell you what, this Wally, he's worked for this his entire career. You're like, wait a minute, he caught a 2-yard pass in a preseason game. I mean, good for him. He's there and in a position maybe to make the team, but who knows if he's even going to do it. I know less about these teams from watching preseason games. Have we made any deductions that are of any relevance, Lubie, about any teams in the preseason so far?
Oh, no. I mean,
nothing, right? We couldn't even tell anything about the Pittsburgh quarterback situation.
I mean, Russell Wilson was fine. I'm sure he'll start. Especially if they do finish the Ayuk trade.
Yeah.
They'll actually have some weapons with a really good defense. I don't know. I haven't taken anything. The rookies, Caleb Williams has been interesting that he's been able to look like this and do the same shit in the pros. We'll see if that continues. I don't know if you can build your offense around him running around like a lunatic. At some point, like the guy is going to get hit and going to get hurt. Drake May, was interesting seeing him look a little better, but he's been off. Jalen Daniels has been sort of I mean, I don't know.
Guy Bo Nix, he looked pretty good.
Bo Nix. The one thing you could say is Bo Nix. It's very interesting to see a guy grow as much as he grew from his Auburn days to Oregon to now. Like he looks like he's a starting.
Suggesting
no, he was always a monster.
Yeah.
the actual playing like a quarterback
Oh, okay. All right.
is
From that
amazing
standpoint.
to see.
Nice.
Like literally, he was a disaster at Auburn after being a top 10 player out of high school, 5-star quarterback, to learning the position at Oregon. To each now he should start in the NFL. It looks like he could be really good. Like it's just he's been interesting, but again, it's still weird to take anything from the preseason to me. It just I don't know what defenses you're facing. I don't know what play calling they're using. It's just and now they don't even care about it. They're now proposing just getting rid of it altogether, which probably makes sense. I just don't. It's just
So
weird.
less significance than it's ever been. I mean, you know, we used to try to make something of it. And there were times that you could, you know, make a little sense out of the preseason, right? With the whole dress rehearsal thing and game 3 of the preseason, and you were going to see the starters. They're going to be in there into the second half.
Yeah, at least you got something out of it. You get nothing.
We got to see what we got here. When men were men, Lubie, that's when men were men. Never mind that they were picking them up on stretchers during the preseason and taking them off the field. That's when men were men. 6 preseason games. Imagine that. That was a real scam, huh? Where the owners didn't have to pay the players for 6 preseason games, took all the money.
That's weird.
Incredible. All right, Lubie, good job. Now, you and the mailman are off on another adventure today. How was your ice cream trip yesterday?
It was good. It
Yeah.
was Lily's Handmade Ice Cream, the South Florida Sun Sentinels winner of best ice cream in South Florida, and they lived up to billing. Really good mom and pop place in Del Rey. Really interesting ice cream flavors. They make everything in house.
How much did you have yesterday?
He brought out a lot of ice cream. That's
Oh,
the
yeah.
problem when we do these ice cream shows. It's just ice cream.
Stuff, yeah.
He's eating like 7
But a
times a
fucking
night.
hot dog or something.
I don't need that much ice cream. It's just a lot.
Yeah.
But it was good, and they're very creative, and it's all done in house, which I like, and was not processed, all natural flavors and stuff, which is cool. So really good place. Lily's Handmade Ice Cream, and the party continues. We're at Shenanigans and then Corvina today.
Oh, yeah?
Double
Wow.
header today. Yeah.
Oh, very nice. All right.
Corvina.
All right.
So,
Sounds good.
busy days, and back here tomorrow. We will have Tony Segredo and Iron Eagle once again.
Yeah? No, how's that going to work?
We'll do Segredo early and Iron late.
Okay, very good. All right, so that sounds like a lot of fun. All right, so we'll see you guys tomorrow. As we leave you on that, for Mike Lubie Lubitz, I'm Jeff DeForest. Thanks for tuning in. And if we got you through a day in the pen,
Yes, that's big.
I don't know, do they allow them to watch stream shows now, or you would just have to pick this up on audio? Well, we say thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next time as we leave you on that.
The time.
It's 9 o'clock.
Let's go to eat a damn snack.
Look what they done to my